Every summer since 1962, people have come together in rural Carroll County, Illinois to experience some of the best summer theater in the country.
My parents brought me here to Timberlake Playhouse when I was about 15.
Since it opened in 1961.
For 2 years.
Yeah, at least 25 years.
When you come to Timberlake Playhouse, it's about more than just a performance.
We've really focused on making Timberlake Playhouse a destination, not only to come and see great musical theater, but also to grab a sandwich, have a drink, enjoy an event in the barn, a little informal entertainment out on the deck, and of course all the wonderful nature we have to offer.
With unparalleled sunset views, the property itself is a catalyst to stimulate imagination for the performances.
It's magical here, you know, and I always say, once you come, once you experience it, you're going to come back again. To actually experience here, experience what it feels like, the energy in the air, the magnificence of nature, from the lake to the trees to the theater itself. You fall in love with it. You can't help but fall in love with it.
When you make it into your seats at Timberlake, you laugh, you cry. It doesn't matter what feelings the show's rouse in you. What matters is that with every performance, you are reminded that you are a part of something bigger.
Oh, I loved it. I smiled through the whole thing. My face hurts from smiling so much. Oh, please try it just once. You will love it and you will come back time and time again.
Timberlake Playhouse. It's about taking time for nature, the arts, and for yourself. When have you done that recently? Timberlake Playhouse. Come for the show, stay for the experience.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our annual meeting. I had hoped that this last year would be last year would have been our only virtual meeting, but due to COVID still, and with many of our members in warmer climates, we have found that this is the best way for us all to come together and join and celebrate Timberlake Playhouse. At this time, I'd like to bring on Dan and have him talk a little bit and greet us from the Playhouse.
Well, good evening, Mike. And how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm staying warm right here in my own little house.
Yeah. Well, it's nice out here too. As you can see behind me, it's gorgeous weather. However, I don't think if you actually looked outside, that's what it would look like.
I would say, I think it's a little whiter out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little whiter out there. This is just our real nice background picture that we use. So, yeah, so thank you all, and welcome to everyone from the Playhouse, and welcome to the Timberlake 2021 annual meeting. So is Paul available there? I see his screen is just black. Let's see what he's got. There he is. All right. Well, so how are things where you are, Paul? Where are you working from tonight?
Hi, Dan. Hi, Mike. Very good to see you both. I'm actually working at home as well. It is frigid and cold, but we will all pretend that we're in Dan's background shot of a nice, warm summer night. I myself have just installed my new webcam for my new computer system here, so I hope everything is coming in clear. Everybody can see me and hear me well, and very excited to be here tonight to be at our annual board meeting with all of the information that we're going to let you guys know about for 2021 and some insights on what we have in store coming up in 2022. So exciting night to be here, and I'm glad to be sharing the screen with both of you.
Yeah, same here. So
good to be with you all.
Michael, I guess without any further ado, we'll have you call the meeting to order.
At this point, I'll call the meeting to order. We will move on to the minutes. I'm going to ask for a motion to suspend the reading of those minutes from last year, and that they will be approved then at our March board meeting.
And by the way, we have the comments up, so motions can be made via the comment bar, and any questions you have can be made in the comment bar. And what we will do is we've got a couple of times where we'll stop and we'll look at that, and then we'll take care of comments. So we have Terry Miller moving, so moved. Kate Enright, I move to suspend the reading of the minutes. If we can get a second on that, that would be great. Love working virtually where
I would say you're seeing them. I'm not seeing the comments. So
no, okay. And Diane Casson has seconded that.
okay,
So
it's been moved and seconded. We will ask for approval to pass the motion.
and you can also vote right in the chat bar.
Any opposition? If not, the minutes will stand approved as moved to be presented at our March board meeting. We'll move on to our financial report, and I'll turn that over to Dan.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So let me first of all talk just a little bit about our overall process. One of the things that we've worked quite a bit on over the past 3-4 years is making sure that we have a strategic direction, and that we are using that strategic direction, the strategic goals to help us with decisions and leadership and movement forward. If you look on the last page of your your annual report, and I'll be referring to this annual report quite often. It talks a little bit, or it shows you the strategic plan as it was originally developed back in 2015, and then it reviewed in 2018. And so what we did is in 2015, we gathered in March, the board and Jim Beaudry and myself. At that point, we were the only 2 full-time staff members, and we started the strategic process. And so a lot of work on goals and making sure we looked at which things we wanted to do in the short term, and the midterm, and the long term. Then that was all put back on staff to go and flesh out and put action plans together and come back to the board with that. And then once they came back to the board, we put together the formal plan, which is what you see in front of you. And in 2015, it had facilities, grants and contributions, marketing, and finance were the 4 areas. And then in our 2018 review of the plan, and again, that was a full board review, patron experience and production were added to that. And then what we do is yearly, the staff comes together at the end of the year to review progress along those areas. And then we use that to inform the document that you see on page 3 of the report. So we've called this progress over the past year. And then we put much of what we've done and what we've accomplished in there. We also do a much more formal review that when the board gathers for the strategic planning process, then it's like in 2018 when we did it, it's a much more formal review. And in 2020, we had planned again, but of course, COVID kind of got in the way with a lot of things. So we really didn't do that at that time. So, an example of how we go through this, I'll just take the facilities section, for example. Twice a year, the facilities committee meets. And the facilities committee is a committee of the board, and then Bill Titus, who is our facilities director, and myself, we meet with them and we walk the property. Paul comes with us sometimes on that, but if not, those things that happen within the theater and the production areas, he gives to us before that meeting, so that we're able to bring that up to the board as we go. And then from that, we determine our short term. In other words, which things do we really need to pick off this year? Our midterm, which are those things we need to do if we've got the money, but we've got to be looking toward those things in the next couple of years. And then our long-term goals. And in addition to that, those are more capital things. In addition to that, we look at our maintenance sorts of things. And an example of that would be our cabins. We've done a pretty big project on the cabins. In fact, we had a video for you to show you all of the work we've done in facilities. And the video is too large to upload tonight, so we can't show you the video. But we had a capital project and spent about $75,000 in upgrading all of the cabins. Well, some of the cabins still need new doors. So that goes on our maintenance plan, our facilities maintenance plan. We know that that has to be done this year. And so that's something we just need to do. And then we have a capital plan, which are larger projects. And we look at our capital monies, what we have for capital monies, and we put those things there. For example, those of you that saw shows last year, noticed that when the house lights went out, they just blacked out. And they really weren't very professional looking. So that's one of the capital projects that's at the top of our list. Another one is there's some repairs that have to be done to the revolve, and the one big one is that we have to repair the slip ring. We have to put a new slip ring in so that we have electricity on the revolve. So when we spin, we're not carrying extension cords, unplugging and plugging them back in. Those kinds of things have gone into mid-range facilities projects. And in fact, this year we put together a massive facilities plan that looked at all of those areas that we've been working on and just didn't quite get done yet because of money or time or whatever. And we have those all developed into a plan of short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, so that when we're raising money, when we're writing grants, we know exactly what those things are before we're sitting around and having to figure out and decide them. So if a grant that we have just written and we're waiting for the results on it comes in, it's about a $400,000 grant, of which the department, the tourism attraction people will fund half of that for all of the projects around the theater that we are nearly done with, not quite, but need to get finished. And then our long-term goal, and those of you that have been involved in any of our capital campaigns and you've seen the brochures and such, our long-term capital goal remains to build another building that has multiple uses, administrative, creative spaces, and facilities for eating and additional living facilities. So that's kind of an example of how we go about doing these sorts of things. You can take a look at our grants. When we get to the financial reports, you'll see how we've done with grants in this past year. In 2018, we added the patron experience. And patron experience basically was our way of looking at when people come to the theater, what do they want to see and what do they want to enjoy, instead of just the production that they come to see. A little more of the come for the show, stay for the experience. So let's take a look at some of those patron experiences that we've been able to offer. We enjoy putting those things together, and we thank Bill for putting all of our videos together tonight. So you get a chance to kind of take a look at some of the things out here and a little remembrance of things going on or things that went on. Let's next take a look at the financial report, and that's on page 2 of the annual report. The first box talks about, shows the simplified statement of financial position, which simplified simply means that we don't put every category in the box, but the totals are what the totals are. You can see that our total assets are at $958,981. When you look at the next box, that's our in the business world, we call that the profit and loss statement. In the not-for-profit world, it's called statement of activities. So we're looking at in 2020 compared to 2021, it's very difficult to make any comparisons this year. So as we were looking at 2021, our income was $1,425,361, expenses $1,328,943. Now, much of that income has to do with the COVID relief grants that we were able to get this year. As you can see down below, we received contributions and grants in the total of $772,388. If you look at the last few years, in 2014 it was $114,000, then $158,000, $129,000, $230,000, $362,000, $433,000. So you can see over the years that our grant and contribution levels have really gone up. In 2020, 354, that looks like a lower number, but when you really dig into the numbers, what we saw in that year is that individual contributions went up, and the grants that we received them in forms of loans. So they don't show on our profit and loss statement. And then in 2021, the loans were forgiven, so they show as income in 2021. So that's one of the reasons our 2021 income is so high, and our grants and contribution number in 2021 is high, and our grants and contribution numbers in 2020 is low. Even though our patrons really, really stepped up in 2020 and helped us through the year with additional contributions and donations. So as you look at these figures, it shows that after our audit was done in FY20, we had about a $94,000 loss. In FY21, we had about a $96,000 profit. But again, that's more about where the grant money switched from loan to grant than it is about actual cash flow in those years. Cash flow toward the end of 2021 was very poor. We had a very difficult time with cash flows, and that continues until today. Now, we're not at a terminal spot, but we are at a spot where we are going to start next week with another fundraising campaign, our annual fund. We'll do another push on our annual fund campaign, our subscription campaign, and single tickets campaign starting in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully that will get us back on target and have our cash flows working well. So are there any questions about anything with the financials, or any questions with about the 8-year comparison? We noticed that performance and event ticket sales went down from 2019 and will jump over 2020. It decreased by about 33% in 2021. And a lot of that, according to our patrons, has to do, there were quite a few people that just still didn't feel good about coming out. There were others that didn't like wearing the masks and didn't want to be here if they had to wear a mask. And we did actually, halfway through the season, have some people that said, "Oh, are you guys open?" So they just had gotten out of the habit of knowing about TLP, and there we were. So if there's any questions about anything, we'll take that next. Well, the nice thing about this year is we were able to open on June 17th. And prior to that, we moved our concerts from inside to outside. Bill's put together a little look back on the last year. Bill, let's see what you got. Very nice, very nice. Well, hello, Paul. How are you?
Hello, Dan. How's it going, bud?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. You know, one thing I did want to talk about is our education program. And this year we were, as most of you know, Robert McFletcher Jones went back to school. So we had to look for his replacement, and we found that in Rebecca Larkin Green, or Green Larkin. I always do that backwards.
I believe
But-
it's her professional name is Green.
Okay, so that's where we got. Okay, so Rebecca Green on stage, and when she's working when she's working with us, Rebecca Larkin, we probably still messed that up. But anyway, this year Rebecca has put together some incredible videos that we are putting out there for folks to use. Bill, why don't you run that video of the TLP Teaches program? I think you're going to be excited about what you see.
Do you want to be the best performer you know you can be? Timberlake Teaches is an innovative series of educational online videos that brings professional training directly to your screen, introducing cutting-edge techniques and encouraging you to embrace your individuality. We offer a holistic approach that helps you figure out what you want to say as an artist. Our classes cover everything from technique in marketing to auditioning and mental health as a performer. Our teachers are amongst the top rated in the world. They've originated roles on Broadway, performed in Tony Award-winning productions, and currently direct and choreograph shows all over the country. With new classes continuously being rolled out, Timberlake Teaches can help you make a great impression at your first meeting with an agent, or learn to deal with rejection in a healthy way so you can sustainably pursue your goals. If you're auditioning for a BFA program, are enrolled but feel like you need more practical advice, or have already started your professional career, our pre-filmed hour-long classes can guide you for a fraction of the price of live classes. We've done the work. Now it's your turn. Sign up now.
I tell you, I am so proud of these workshops, these classes. They are amazing, and we have amazing people teaching these classes. When you start looking at some of their resumes, you just can't believe who has done this. And these are not classes we grabbed out there. We've done some of that too, but these are classes that were done specifically for Timberlake.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to mention that Rebecca comes from a Broadway background. She actually was in New York. She's been in Broadway productions of Avenue Q and so many others, and she was actually featured in our world premiere musical as one of the head elf Rhubarb. And so just to have her in our community, the fact that she moved here from New York, much like Felicia and I did, it is just another testament to what the power of Timberlake Playhouse is doing. We're starting to get noticed on a national level, and people like Rebecca are there was a mass exodus out of most of the major cities of New York, Chicago, LA because of COVID, and all of a sudden the rural areas of our country became very, very big hotspots. And Rebecca and her family was no stranger to that move. So the fact that we are starting to attract this type of talent out here and they're literally moving here and to plant some seeds here, that is just a testament of what kind of community Timberlake Playhouse is building. To have Rebecca on our team, to be able to inspire young kids and adults to want to take on theater, even if they're unsure about it, even if they're like, I don't know what that is. We have a class for you. We have classes that allow you to dip your toes in the water. If you want to go specific, we have detailed classes. It really does offer a little something for everyone, no matter age. If you're a preschooler all the way to adults, and that is the kind of world that we want to bring from our education department. And Rebecca and you, Dan, really did such a great job of allowing our education department to stay in that virtual world in case people felt uncomfortable, and being able to work with teachers that that can be from anywhere, from New York to LA and anywhere in between. So kudos to both of you for creating such a wonderful program.
Well, thank you much. I tell you what, these programs, we have 12 of them up on the website right now. We have 6 more to go. We're developing what we call class combos, where if this is what you're looking for, these are the classes to take, and then we've got ways to do that. So the way you can take these classes is you go on the website, you click on them, and you can just, you get the link, pay a tuition, and the tuition is very very little. They range from like $17 to $20 per class, but when you put them in a bundle, then they're even less than that. We've done a soft rollout of these. We just basically finished the first set of these in the last month and a half, so we haven't had a lot of people sign up for them yet. But if you are interested, please jump on and look. But over the next couple of weeks, we will be doing what we call a hard rollout, a big media campaign, so people know about them. Now, you mentioned preschool. We have a whole nother series of things for our preschool and first and second, third graders. Bill, why don't you roll that video? Let's take a look at what those are.
Hello everyone, and welcome to TLP Reads.
Hello readers, this is Catherine, back with another TLP Reads.
This is Michael with another TLP Reads.
The first one is the word terrible. Have you heard that word before? Horrible. Have you heard of horrible before? Can we say it together now? Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Today's book, The Salamander Room.
Today's book is Night Tree by Eve Bunting.
Are you ready? Let's begin.
So we've had TLP Reads going for about a year. We have had over 400 students read TLP Reads books, either being used in the classroom, in schools, not only in the area, but we've had them being used in a classroom in Indiana and one in Ohio. And now we've just got 8 more TLP Reads on the computer that we're editing to put up there. But those are free to use. And if you're sitting out there and your grandkids come over, you can get on TLP Reads and show that to your grandkids or your children, or heck, if you like Where the Wild Things Are, just wait, it's coming. So TLP Reads, another great initiative of our program. And we really want to thank the Tiger Bearing Foundation out of New York. They help fund us. And also the Freeport Community Foundation has been funding us in these programs for the last 3 years. So we really thank them.
Yes, and we also want to make sure that we thank all of our teachers that have both joined us virtually as well as in person. This is a program that we're very passionate about. Our kids, our children are the next generation of TLP audiences and TLP leaders. And without them, we really are not doing our job to carry on the torch. So again, education is such a huge part of what we are about. And we want to hear from you. If there is a specific story you want to hear, or if there's a favorite that you have, please don't hesitate. Let us know. We are always open to opening the canon and expanding our TLP Reads program.
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking about last Saturday morning when I went to the library to grab some of the books. I wasn't used to going into the area where when you sit down, you're only about 12 inches off the floor. So when the librarian came over and said, "Can I help you, sir?" I said, "Well, I'm okay with the books, but I need to get out of this chair." So it's been a lot of fun, and we're glad to see we have some comments on this. Maddie loved the TLP Read. She can't wait for more books. And another comment from Terry Miller, love TLP Reads, was unaware of the program. Need to do this with my granddaughter. Yeah, we need to do a much better job of our marketing for all of our online education programs, and that's on the agenda in the next few weeks. So very good. Well, Paul, you had a crazy year. I mean, we thought we'd get started early, and then we ended up
not.
And then we had to put stuff. We had to put stuff outside for a while, so we got a big stage and did our concerts outside, and we are all ready for our May 15th summer kickoff, and it was 30 degrees out. Oh my God, we were all freezing out there. Thank goodness the Sound of Summer has warmed us up a bit with Beach Boys songs, but things got better. COVID got better, and we were able to move inside on June 17th.
Dan, it's such a, first and foremost, we must acknowledge our team. Everywhere from Bill Titus to Jen Robinson and Ashland and everyone who had made our prep for the campus to get the campus ready for our residents to arrive and our audiences to arrive. And we had to be, I believe, flexible. We really took it to a new height this year in this past year in 2021, because we both know everything was scheduled to be inside with the concerts coming in May. We did not know if that was going to be safe. We didn't know if Illinois was going to be allowed to do that, and we were able to pivot and find some. We were able to rent a stage to place it outdoor. All the bands that we brought in were so malleable with allowing us to move it outside. Yeah. The audiences showed up, and that really allowed us to set the stage for reopening. And I think that also a big thank you needs to go to our audiences. I know that this past 2 years has been nothing but stressful on everybody, trying to open, not being able to open, pushing our dates back, and then not being able to produce it all in 2020. When it came to 2021, Dan and I really sat down with the board and we said, guys, this is the time. This is the time we really need to bring TLP back in any way, shape, or form. And we did it. And so really a big acknowledgement and thank you that has to go to everybody from our team and our staff that works day to day, to our audiences that came out and supported us as we got through it, and then be able to open inside with Pippin. Yes, we had to push the time 2 weeks, but we opened and we were off and running. And then to be able to find out that, we had to move our original opening show, A Closer Walk to Patsy Cline, in October, still was one of the highest selling shows that we had of the 2021 season. Yep. And that was in a spot that we never even produced the show before. So
absolutely.
really just hats off to everybody there, our staff, our team. Again, going down back to the power of TLP and what it means to this community, always blows me away, Dan. Always, that's why you and I show up, put in the hours, put in the time, because we know that if we do it, we are going to be able to bring our community back out together. And that was worth everything.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a look back on the past year, and we'll remember a little bit about what we did for 9 months or 8 months or whatever it was. Bill just reminded me, we just watched this one.
I was going to say, yeah, must be having a deja vu right now, because I think I just saw that.
So look, let's go to Paul, and Paul, give us kind of your summary of the 2021 season.
Absolutely. Again, everybody, so much needs to be acknowledged to you at home who came out even when you were nervous about doing so. We need to acknowledge our artists. We need to acknowledge our staff, both front of house and behind the scenes, that really came together to allow us to get back to what we normally know how to do, that is produce great live theater for our audiences. Some of the things that I'm very proud of, just a couple of bullet points to mention. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge that for the first time in TLP history, we world premiered a brand new musical, What a Wonderful World, jukebox musical celebrating the Santa origin story. And that is now going to go into a licensing house that will be able to go and be produced anywhere in the world. And wherever it is produced, whenever it is produced, Timberlake Playhouse will be acknowledged as the very first theater to do that show. And we get to participate in royalties for that show and when that is produced. And that doesn't mean it's just on stage. It also means that if it's turned into a movie, a television show, a book, whatever kind of medium that it becomes, TLP will always be acknowledged as the very first time that the show was ever seen by a live audience. And thanks to our collaborations with DePaul University School of Cinematic Arts and Broadway On Demand, we were able to live stream the show to the entire world, with countries including Japan, London, and most of the 50 states, including Hawaii, New York, Alaska, Illinois, and everywhere in between. We have a little bit of a video to show, a little bit of sizzle of what that show looked like. Bill, let's have a look.
The acting is great. The story's new and novel, so I love that. I'm going to get you in the Christmas spirit.
The singers are absolutely amazing.
Tell me, why are we wasting time on all your wasted crying when you should be with me instead?
I love all the songs.
It's fun. I'm impressed.
What a Wonderful World is the origin story of our current Santa and Mrs. Claus. It asks the question, where do they come from? It's the story of this determined young woman who is trying to save Christmas.
I'll do anything good.
Will they save Christmas? Spoiler alert, I think they might.
That was writer Jeremy Desmond, who wrote the book for What a Wonderful World, and it was filled with wonderful music that consists of a contemporary canon from all generations from the 1970s, 60s, 50s, and even into today. Another bullet point that I want to mention is that we also were able to install our brand new band loft in the summer. We were able to take our balcony and our stage right side and turn that into a music room. So now our musicians coming from either our local region or Chicago are able to enjoy, relax, and be able to play in a setting that sets them up for success and is a soundproofed room. So gives our audio A1 sound operator more control all over the sound. So that gives you a better audio experience to listen at home. I mean, not at home, but in the theater and eventually at home as we stream all of the shows. Another bullet point I wanted to talk about was how we were able to also create a green room, which is an area where actors and musicians can relax during the show, before, during, and after. If they're not on stage, get some water to catch their breath and be able to have a good maintained show. I also want to make mention that we were able to renovate and introduce our newly renovated cabins. As some of you might remember, that was our Fund the Need last year. And I am so proud to know and announce that all of our cabins were complete, being able to put them new floors, being able to give them kitchenettes, mini fridges, countertops, microwaves, new furniture, and both now AC'd and heated. So all of our artists that come to stay with us at Timberlake can be comfortable and set them up for success. And also, I would like to make mention that we also have been able to introduce our brand new rehearsal pavilion. As most of you know at home, Timberlake Playhouse, when we rehearse our shows, usually is outside on a place that was lovingly nicknamed the Pad. The reason it was nicknamed the Pad, it was because it started with a slab of concrete that everybody would dance and sing on. Well, like if you're like me and you're a little bit on the older side, you don't want to be dancing on concrete. So we worked very, very diligently with the Illinois Arts Council. Dan did such an amazing job of writing grants and bringing in money so that we were able to finally enclose the pavilion, give it a sprung dance floor. And now we have ourselves an area and a space where we can open up 6 garage doors to have the nature come right in, or close them off, still be able to see nature and be either comfortably heated or comfortably cooled. And so, Bill, I think you have a little bit of a, let's make the rehearsal pavilion something real and true. Let's go ahead and have a look at that.
Well, that was amazing to see. What was that storm we had? The thing that started with a D.
The Derecho.
That's Derecho. Why can I never remember that name?
That's kind of what started the whole thing. I mean, if you know a little bit of backstory on this story, is that Dan wrote a grant to get the rehearsal pavilion enclosed for 2020, but then because of COVID, we lost the grant due to other circumstances that were beyond our control. And so we didn't know if we were going to be able to finish the job. And then in 2020, a Derecho came through, 90-mile-an-hour winds, and actually blew one of our big oak trees right on top of the pavilion, which was the video that you saw that Bill just showed, started with this tree that fell onto our pavilion. Thank goodness it was during COVID and no one was there. But then that allowed us to be able to, the insurance money was able to complete the job. And so
there's even a little more to that story. We had a contribution from one of our great supporters, Willow I'm going to say the wrong word. Willow Springs Foundation, Community Foundation. And so we were going to start the project anyway with funding from them. And I had the contractor was coming out. He was going to meet me at 4 o'clock, and then he didn't get there. And at 4:30, it was starting to look kind of crazy. So I drove home. He called me later and said, okay, I stopped out. There's a big tree down on the rehearsal pavilion. So we were actually ready to start the project. I am so glad we didn't, or we'd had that tree down on top of a partially started project. But anyway, it's a gorgeous project. It's a gorgeous building, and we are going to have the ability to do tours of the back lot area. We just have to do them earlier than we normally would. So on May 15th, our plan is that morning and afternoon to have tours available, so that all of you that want to see what these buildings look like and the work that we do in the back, you'll be able to do that.
And
I'd also like to
just going
take
back
just
to
a second
that.
to-
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd just like to take a second to thank our volunteers. We have such a great group of volunteers. A lot of the down trees get taken care of by volunteers. We've had some of our volunteers who deal with, like this last year, there's a lot of ground wasp nests. And we had volunteers that came out and helped with ground wasp nest. And of course, our volunteers, all of our board members are volunteers, and they do such a great job of working with us and coming out and helping. We had board members here at the beginning of the season, raking leaves and picking up wood and all sorts of things like that. So a big thank you to all of our volunteers.
Absolutely. And you know what, really quickly about the construction of our new rehearsal pavilion, it was all done locally, so from everyone from the Burkholders who laid our concrete around the pavilion, to our electricians, and just the construction itself over with Sisler. Everybody that really participated came together from the community to be able to give us this wonderful space. And Dan, you know as much as I do, and Bill, how much that meant to us, because it not only allows our artists to feel comfortable and safe in an environment, but also we kept that in the woods feeling with all of the glass that's around the building. And, just to piggyback what you said, I really want to invite everybody to come out, have a look at that. Gail Millay, who donated our sprung dance floor inside of there. It really is a night and day difference and sets us up for success. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons we were so successful with What a Wonderful World was because we were able to rehearse in there with heat during the winter months, and that was a real treat.
Yep, and we'd be remiss not to mention Tony Harrell, Harrell Electric, and also Tracy Quackenborner with Northwest Heating and Plumbing. Thank you to all of you who did that sort of thing. Well, Paul, we need to move along. Let's bring Mike back.
Hey there.
Hello, Michael. I've got some questions here that we're going to, comments and questions we're going to do quickly before we go on to the next thing. Somebody said something about the annual report. In your emails that you got about this, it said to download that from the website. It's on the website to download. We didn't send them out. I answered that question. Have you publicized this to the Carroll County preschool program? We sent letters to every teacher, pre-K through 12th grade, on all of our education programs. And yes, this was one of them. In fact, we've had several of the classes, I think mostly though in West Carroll, who have used this program, the TLP Reads, for to enhance the reading program, and they have given us the suggestion for many of the names of these books. It also, that letter also went out to everybody's administrators, superintendents, and principals, and counselors too. Do we think 2022 will be normal? Paul and I and Bill And well, and Jen and Ashley, we were meeting about this on Tuesday. We started meetings at 10 o'clock and we went till, I think we got out of there about 9:30 at night. That's one of the questions that we work on over and over. And so what we kind of do is we kind of look at, if things are normal, this is how we'll do it. If things are a little less than normal, this is how we'll do it. My guess is, and my hope is, 2022 will be as close to normal as we've seen in quite some time. So, and we will continue to try to keep it as close to normal as we can. I mean, last year we fought hard with the unions about the whole masking thing. We weren't supposed to have a bar open in the inside of the theater. We weren't supposed to allow food or drink in the theater. We weren't supposed to allow any of the, but we fought those things with them and finally got permission to do so. So we will continue those quests. We know what it is you want because we want the same thing. Either of you guys have any other answer to that?
I'm hoping for normal. I'm ready for normal. I think everybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that ultimately what we always have to be mindful of is that, you know, so much of this is out of our control. As you said, we are involved with we are an equity theater. You know, we have to negotiate with them on their rules. We're an SDC theater. So we're dealing with unions. We deal with artists that come from all different walks of life. We deal with our patrons that have specific opinions on what is safe and what not is safe. And we take that all in. We listen to every single person that comes and has a comment. We talk about it as a team. And believe me when I say that it is not an easy decision to come to. So whatever we put forward, we always remember that our safety of our patrons and our artists has to and will always be first and foremost. And from there, we will do our best to get our theater back to as normal as we remember it.
Yep. Comment, love the story and wonderful world. Show was well done. Another comment is VNY FYI. I don't know what VNI or VYN means, so I Googled it. And the only thing that comes up is Van Nuys Airport and vinyl. So if you want to ask that question, if it is a question, you put it in old guy talk and we'll figure it out for you. So, Michael, we'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay. At this time, I would like to recognize 3 of our board members who will be retiring. Andy Shaw and Ashley Burkholder and Betsy Shawless will be leaving the board, and they will be getting plaques in the near future. I've got them here, so they will be sent to them. But we thank them for their service. Andy's been involved with the theater for many years and has served on our HR and our internal committee with facilities. He's out raking leaves and all that kind of stuff, helping on the grounds. Ashley's been very busy with the governance committee and working on our bylaws and our handbooks and things like that. She's also been very instrumental in helping get some of our cement work done through her corporation or her company. And then Betsy's also been our secretary for the past several years and has been on the board for, I believe, 13 years or something close to that. So we recognize you guys for your service and thank you for your dedication to the theater. We'll be moving on to the nominations for our new board members. We have 3 people that will be renewing for a 3-year term. They are Ed Jurasek, Alicia Payette, and Lee Reese. And then we had 2 new people that were appointed right at the very end of last year. Will be coming on to take on Andy and Ashley's positions. And they are Laura Kashner from Lanark and Nicole Shores. Some of you may know Nicole. She's our inside bartender. And then for a 2-year term, we have Dana McCoy, who is returning. She was on the board a few years ago and is coming back. And then we also have a new person, Bill McNeil. Bill has served as an associate judge in the 14th Judicial Circuit, primary in Sterling and Morrison courthouses. He just retired in December of 2019. He's lives in Morrison with his wife, and they are very avid TLP supporters. So those are our new board members that will be put up for nomination. And if those, I would entertain a motion to approve that slate of officers.
We have a motion. Can we have a second?
Awesome.
Motion by Katie Enright, second Andy Shaw and Arlene Jurczyk.
Thank you. And so all in favor? Opposed? We welcome them to the new board. And they will be put to work immediately because we have a board meeting right after this meeting. So I'm thinking where we're going next. Is my report now?
It is your report. See, the agenda says, what does the future bring? So, Mike,
what does the future bring? Well, first, I know we've been doing a lot of thank yous, but a big thank you goes to Dan. And you don't know how many, or people don't realize how much work went into getting that Shuttered Venues grant. The constant changes and reading one paragraph, one place said one thing, and then they needed something completely different 3 paragraphs later. So, but Dan did a lot of work with getting both of those grants submitted. And we were one of the few theaters that did not have to submit additional documentation from the initial grant. So a big thank you goes for securing all of those grants and the renovation grants and everything else. A thanks to Paul for assembling an outstanding, and I think probably the most diverse 2021 company that I've ever seen at Timberlake. The talent was remarkable and the shows were amazing. The world premiere and the live stream with the assistance of DePaul University has brought TLP into a whole new vision and noticed worldwide. I want to thank our front of the house again for keeping us safe, and to all of our patrons. I also want to put a real thank you out to our friends of TLP. For those of you who may not know what that is, they are the people that help provide ushers. They help pick up company members. They do a lot of various things for the theater and are all volunteers. If you ever want to get more involved with the Playhouse, this is a way to do that. Just talk to the box office or Bill or email the staff and they will get you in touch with the volunteers. As to the future, 2022 will provide still challenging times ahead. We look forward to that, hopefully coming back to some normalcy. While we don't know what that will be, I would like to challenge each of you to bring someone new to Timberlake Playhouse. Whether it's a concert, special event, or especially a main stage show, it is my hope that we can fill every seat for every performance. I would also like to personally invite you to our 2022 gala. It'll be on August 20th, so mark your calendars now. It is a fun night of great food, entertainment, and above all, a way to raise some much needed revenue to help with the general operations, equipment, and other needed things that bring the highest quality of productions to our patrons. Just watch our website and social media for details. We have some outstanding alumni that I think should be brought to attention. Some of our TLP alums are doing great things. Jane Hodeshell is now performing as Mrs. Shin in the new revival of The Music Man. And Emily Koachu, I hope I pronounced that right, Emily, was interviewed on the Today Show this morning, and she has recently made her debut as the first woman of color to play the iconic role of Christine Daae in Phantom of the Opera. There are also many other alums that are performing and working in regional theaters and on national tours. So who knows what the future Broadway star will be appearing on our stage next summer. I look forward to seeing you all this summer and celebrate live theater. Dan, I'll turn it over to you for your perspectives for the future.
Well, Mike, it's interesting. You should say that. Paul and I have been chatting about that very thing. We were just noticing how Kate Baldwin is starring in a production of Bridges of Madison County, and Laura Hayhurst, who was here with us, is also in that production.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, and it's been all over Facebook, and Hunter Foster is directing that. That's coming up here in a couple of weeks. So we have great people working all over, and also behind the scenes. I was in New York last October and got to production of Come From Away, and working Come From Away as Laura, our former production stage manager, Laura Crouch. And she was working one of the backstage roles there, so we got to see her after the production. So that's, and also back from the early 2000s, Ryan Pothke, who was backstage with all sorts of things, he and Kyle Simpkins have been working, and they're both alumni. They've been working on a lot of our infrastructure, our DMX infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, Revolve work. So it's really great to have these folks working for us. So why don't we bring Paul back out, and let's talk a little bit about next summer. I mean, we've already mentioned that we kind of hope that we are able to start on time. We're busy working on our concert schedule. We're looking at doing a couple of twists to our concert. We had people say, hey, we'd really like to have another comedy night. So we're looking at possibility of throwing one of those in there. We're looking at some different eras for our tribute bands. We're also looking at doing something that's kind of like a Vegas night where we've got gambling, a casino in there, and turn the theater into a casino and an entertainment venue. So working on quite a few things along those lines. And we can't say, so Paul, don't say who we're talking about, but we can kind of tease. We got some pretty big names that we're looking at bringing out to TOP next summer.
That's true, Dan. That's absolutely true. I have been in negotiations with a couple of celebrities, and as you're saying, that we're not going to be able to say names just yet because we don't want to jinx anything as negotiations are continuing on. However, I will say that I'm very excited about the potential of the celebrity talent that we are in talks with to come out perform for our TLP audiences. In addition to that, I also do want to just piggyback a little bit on what you said about our alumni. I don't know if you're aware of this, but about 75% of our alumni go on to have successful careers in the entertainment business, whether it is on stage or behind the scenes, regional, Broadway, television, movie. We do boast quite a large percentage of our alumni that starts at Timberlake Playhouse that goes on to continued success in the industry, which is very, very high considering the fact that this is probably one of the most competitive industries that there is. Also, talking about our alumni, one of the things that we're going to be shooting for in 2022, 23, and 24 is the opportunity to bring back our alumni to be able to perform for our audiences. We all know that our audiences really do fall in love with our resident company, and they should, because they're amazing, as our audiences are amazing. And to be able to put those together and be able to have our audiences follow them on social media, become friends with them, and be able to follow their careers once they leave TLP is such an important part. And when Dan and I started doing TLP live during 2020, we had an opportunity to reconnect with so many of our wonderful alumni from all of the different decades, from 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s. And we are going to be able to start bringing those people back to be able to do single show contracts. People like Samantha Barboza, Carl Hamilton, and of course, Jane Howdeshell are people that we are talking to be able to come back and do a show with us, because again, they know that they started their careers at Timberlake, and Timberlake holds such an amazing, special point in their hearts that they want to come back, and we want to give them that opportunity. So as we move through 2022, be on the lookout for some of your favorite alumni to come back and be on the stage for a show or two, as we, just like Darren Mangler does last summer, starts to get that whole type of, this is what Timberlake means to us. This is the passion we bring to it. This is the theater that started my career. And that kind of energy coming back, working with our new residents and talking about that energy and love of what happens when you leave Timberlake is such a vital, important part of what we are, who we are, and what we do. And so be on the lookout for that. And as Dan said, be on the lookout for our special celebrity guests that we're going to be bringing in 2022.
Thank you, Paul. That's a real exciting look into next season, and we're all looking forward to those sorts of things. Well, we're at about the end of our meeting. I'd like to take this time to do a few thank yous. A big thank you to our staff here, Jennifer Robinson, Bill Titus, Ashlyn Shores, Paul Stancato, Rebecca Larkin, our maintenance staff, our front of house staff, all of our resident company and creative staffs. A big thank you to all of them. Of course, a big thank you to our volunteers. And I want to point out one special volunteer, and that's our neighbor, Ron Swanson. Ron's the kind of guy that when you need something, you walk over and say, Ron, hey, can you come over here with your forklift and move the bar for us? And he gets on the forklift and comes over, and next thing you know, the bar is in the air and it's moving from one concrete pad to the other. At Christmas time, I wanted to get lights way up in the trees for our light show. So he brought over his 60-foot bucket truck and spent all day with me hanging lights up high in the trees. So a big thank you to Ron. Of course, Paul already said, but a thank you to our alumni, especially all the alumni who've been coming back and helping with things. Thank you to Ryan and Kyle and those of you who have been doing that. And also a big thank you to our board, and thank you to our new board members who are just coming on. I think together in the next 3-4 years, you will see great things at TLP, based a lot on the people that we have, not only coming here as volunteers, but our board members, our staff, and of course, all of you patrons who support what we do here at Timberlake. Thank you very much. Let's send this back to Michael for closing remarks and to close out the meeting. Michael?
Dan, were there any other questions or comments on their thing before we get?
No, there were not.
Okay. Well, at this time, there's no further business on my agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting, and a second.
I don't have anyone making a motion.
Okay, with no further business, we can stand adjourned.
We can stand
Thank
adjourned.
you all for coming tonight or being a part of this tonight. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you soon in the warmer weather. Good night.
Good night.